Now this has been heat treated and tempered, and it was given to me in this condition, so I think while I'm here I might try and get this rust off and do a little bit of work on it. Actually, it's a good size comparison. Unfortunately, the on button doesn't work. You've got to hold it in. So I can't use my other hand to hold a camera. Sorry, the phone. So it's precariously balanced on the lathe. But that's kind of what stuff looks like before. And that's after. Before, after. Using WD-40 and sandpaper. The WD-40 helps to capture the bits of the sandpaper come off and the bits of the rust, and then actually helps to continue with the working as sandpaper. So that slurry actually helps. Alright. And because I'm moving house, there's no sandpaper in this workshop. This is what I found, a little scrap piece of my own wet and dry. I think this is probably 600 grit, something like that. And this is the only thing I've been using. I have a knack for making stuff last. You setting up to smoke alarm? So you'd never think, like an hour ago, that this was covered in rust. Still got lots of pitting in the blade and discoloration, but there's nothing I can do about that. You'd never think that an hour ago this was covered in rust. Some scratch marks there. Now, the only sandpaper I had was actually the piece that you saw me using. This. It's a bit of leftover wet and dry that I left behind. All my gear is packed away, so there was no sandpaper here, so I found this, which was still intact. So this with WD-40 and an hour's worth of elbow grease, and that's the result. got rid of the tip up and made it more of a slight drop point. This is just a preliminary edge. So one of the reasons why I don't like hollow ground knives is because unless that's done perfectly, the actual edge there can vary in height. Just marking out the position on the wood where I want the knife handle to sit when I drill the holes. Next job is a clamp, so cut that into half, clamp that on, and then drill. Okay, the first hole has been drilled and the pin has been inserted, so that'll keep the wood from sliding away while I'm drilling it. Second hole's been done. Tired of trying to balance the phone precariously on various objects to get it to film, so I made a stand. Just some cardboard, some holes cut in it, held together with some bull clips, like that. And then you guys can sit in there. So adjust it so it's pointing up or pointing down. And I can still access the buttons and the controls through the holes that are cut in it. Okay, that's a bit better. Okay. The first one has been drilled and it's slightly out of alignment. Slightly out of alignment to the line that I drew around it. But that's okay because I still got plenty of excess wood, so I can still put the second pin in and still have a good handle scale. Done. Okay, all of the holes have been drilled. They're sticking out up high here because This was sitting on the wooden bench when I put the pens in. But when it comes time to glue this, the pens will be pushed through so that there's equal amount of brass on either side. But what I need to do now is I want to trim the front, because the front two pieces need to match before it gets glued on. Okay, the scales have been removed from the knife, and now the two halves will be matched up. Like that. Just making sure that the pins are fully in. And now that the pins are fully in, what I do is I shape the front on the belt sander, thereby making them even and matching perfectly. Okay, so the handle's been done. The scales are, where did I put them? Here they are. The scales have been shaped at the front. Can you see that? Yep. And the handle, the tang has been roughed up. Ready to take epoxy. It's been cleaned with alcohol, so that's why I'm not touching it. So the next thing is to glue this all together. Okay, she's assembled and drying. Now, it'd be very tempting to get a fast curing epoxy. I personally go for a it doesn't even show on here, a slow curing epoxy, because the fast drying stuff, you don't have much time to play with it, whereas this stuff, cure time in this I think is a couple of hours, so I can leave that overnight. I'll come back to it, it'll be all done tomorrow. But yeah, slow curing epoxy, you got more time to play with it. So we'll see this tomorrow. Okay, that's done. Now comes the hard work. Cut these off, cut them off, and start to shape it. So get the basic shape with the belt sander, and now I'd pretty much do the rest by hand. Lots and lots of sanding. Things that I do with woods that have not been stabilized is something called popping the grain. So you just quickly wetten it, and you quickly dry off the excess, and then you start sanding again. The reason for this is the moisture will make any fine particles actually stand up, and you can then sand them away. It gives you a much cleaner surface to work with, and also easier to polish up. I had to go out and buy a brand new bottle of linseed oil because I cannot find mine, so it's just standard linseed oil. Not even sure if this is showing up on the video very well, because I am, after all, using my phone, not my camera. Camera never shows really how good it looks, does it? But it's got sort of iridescence to it, sort of a reflective sort of shine. It's like a hologram, but you can't really see it on the camera. But yeah, that's my new steak knife. Okay, if you've been following, thanks a lot. See you next time.